Hey, should we get started for our Michelle now? Is it time?
Yeah, sure. Everybody's
Yeah.
ready. Looks
Okay,
like we've
well,
got
okay.
60 or so people in here.
Awesome. Well, why don't you take the lead and we'll follow for Michelle.
All right, so let's go over what kind of stuff happened this week. We got that quick buy button in, right? That was pretty exciting. Mel, you want to talk about any of that stuff?
Yeah, so how's everyone feeling about the quick buy? I've seen lots of conversation around it, so keep letting us know how you feel. There's always things that we can improve, so we're definitely listening back there, and so is the person who created this feature in his spare time. So that's amazing. We had the flower station this week as well. That's gone in store and sold out. The Dragon Auto cell fixes, kind of. It doesn't use your gas anymore, but you still need to have a gasoline. So there's some final work to be done on the Dragon Auto cell, so that'll get done very soon.
Hey, before we jump on the flower station, we did a community survey real quick about the numbers to buy. You guys want to share a little bit more about that, what we saw and what we did?
Yeah, we
Well, the
decided.
vote was
We decided to ask if everyone wanted it to be what, three purchase limit or a one purchase limit. We got a pretty fast response for one purchase limit, and I think the sell went pretty well. It seemed like the spread was really nice. A lot of people who wanted one got one, which was awesome to see.
yeah, it was. It was
Cool.
nice to see, and people seem very happy. So that's what we want.
That's good. So, what do you guys think about the flower station? I mean, you shared some already. Any new comments today? Talking to all you folks in Discord land. Well, everybody's too stunned by that cat there. Ed Stream 50. Just tell us the meta already. Oh, wow. Okay. Thanks, Michelle. Well, let's keep going, Michelle.
All right, so I pulled some questions from our survey results. We're going to move on to a couple of those quick and see if we can get some answers for anybody. The first group of them are about the new game engine, Godot. So we've got number one, is there a noticeable performance improvement, both desktop and mobile, using the new game engine, or is it mostly improvements to the development process?
Oh, that's a great, insightful question, and it makes me wonder if the person that asked this is the developer. Here's how I look at it. Game engines by themselves, we're getting to the point in the industry where unless somebody makes a mistake with their game engines, performance is base performance is pretty much the same. I mean, there's some good and some bad. The reality is how well you write your game code and what you have that game code doing really is going to affect everything more. So, for example, everybody talks about pathfinding. I know from making RTS games that pathfinding is a super time-consuming, CPU time-consuming, process. And so what I can say, for the new version and using Godot, we're going to get performance gains by refactoring the code, fixing it, restructuring how it's done. And specifically on pathfinding, I just gave a bunch of notes the other day to the dev team on how to simplify it so that we don't have to do as much work. And simplify by that, some of the tricks we learned in the old RTS days. If you remember those kind of games, 50 tanks coming at each other, they all do pathfinding, they all have to not run over each other. So we're going to get performance there, definitely by rewriting the code. We'll see what happens with the platform itself. We're going to be doing some of the performance testing this week because it's just part of what you do when you make the game on a new platform. But I think we're going to see some cool stuff. And by the way, it'll be easier with Godot to make changes and updates. So that's exciting too.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So we'll just move on to number two. How are we going to change the engine, and how does it help the game?
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so here's one of when people say engine, I think of like Play Canvas or Godot. Other people, they say the core logic code that runs in the game. The way I kind of look at this one is it's like an engine on a car. We got the Town Star game counts our car, and there's an engine in it that's running on top of Godot. And so you're like, okay, it's running on top of play canvas. We're going to take play canvas out, put Godot in, and at the same time, we're going to restructure the car around it. Re-architecting game code, making it more secure against cheaters. And like I said before, it's going to be just so much easier to add and change new features. Godot is a little bit more capable of handling a group of developers all working on it at once, which is slightly not the case with Play Canvas. So, and then of course the big change is re-engineering it from being client authoritative to server authoritative, and that's where the speeding stop happens. And it also brings a host of other features with it too.
I'm definitely excited to see it running. All right.
Very excited.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to number 3. Oh, you can take it.
Oh, I was going to say, at the end, let's just talk a little bit more about the Godot version after we get through all the questions.
There's only one more Godot question, and it's roughly how long will it take to switch game engines, and please tell us about the work.
Yeah, okay. So we're not at the point about sharing timelines yet, but, like I mentioned last week, we are doing what we call, quote, building this in public. And that means we're sharing our progress each week with everybody across Gala. For example, I've actually already seen a preview of the game sort of standing up. And I want to be very careful. I've seen a play field with some farm buildings on it and some of the characters in T-poses running on our internal servers. So we've got some good progress on that. But we'll be able to share that later, quote later, probably September timeframe or so with the public. But internally, each week we're going to be working and doing updates so everybody inside the company can watch what happens, and that's going to be a sort of a stepwise build or a layer cake build process. Little bits of the game coming into place. We've got a strong team of engineers right now. We've got some extra help coming from some additional engineers that did the original prototype work. So it's a very, very strong team. And we're going to see week-by-week progress. We've got some very exciting milestones, very aggressive milestones. So I'm looking forward really to this change that happens in the next 3 to 4 weeks. And then at that point, we'll take an evaluation. We'll see if it's ready, and then we'll share it with the community. But you gotta, we don't have a timeline on it, and that's not something we're going to do. But we will share it probably sooner than everybody expects. So I see your note there, Pixel Mouse. Yeah, community testing, community views on it. That's what we want to do, building in public, so that there's no questions. You guys can see what's happening. And it kind of goes back to that philosophy of show, don't tell that we're doing with this team right now. Show, don't tell. We'll just show you this stuff rather than talk about it a lot.
Love it.
That's it. Yeah.
Anything else we want to say about Godot before we move on?
I kind of mentioned a little bit. I saw a very early preview of our internal servers running the back end for it. Maybe I'm going to see a little bit more tonight. The rest of the company will start getting some previews next week, and then we're just going to keep stacking features onto that. So it's exciting. Things are moving quickly.
All right, the next set of questions are some general timeline questions. Sorry, Mark, I keep interrupting you.
Yeah. No, it's all right. It's a little bit of a delay. But I see something. My question was in regards to Godot. It was if we would get a sandbox mode for practicing late in game. Oh, yeah, I remember people asking about that. I'm not sure about the sandbox mode. And here's my thought. I'm not saying yes and I'm not saying no. I get the need for it. And it feels like something that's very valuable to people. We'll look at it. Part of the thing we have to do is prioritize. Do we want competition to be completed or we want sandbox mode in there, right? Obviously we want competition to be completed. Do you want the forever game to be completed or do we want the sandbox mode in there? I can tell you, though, having made games like this before, do recognize the need for sometimes that magic buttons that says, hey, I want to take my city down. I built it all up and I want to reset it and start over. That's a little bit like sandbox mode, but we're keeping that in mind, Cool Whip. So thanks for raising it again. So let's move on to the next questions, Michelle.
Okay, so the next question is, how long did Farmville take to be fully user-friendly and scalable?
Okay. First step, yes, I made Farmville. Second step, this is not Farmville that we're making. Farmville was a very, very simple game, and I'll describe what it was when we launched. It took us 6 weeks. We had some code that we already were using, and we acquired a team that brought in some code with them. And so the build on Farmville, when we went from nothing, we had some pieces and parts before there was before we started. We put them together. It took 6 weeks. That game was literally I don't know, like you show up and there's like 6 or 8 plots, and there's a farmer there, and you click on it, and you grow some crops, and that was it. We launched with that. We had some, friend bar down at the bottom. We had some Facebook messaging going on. It was super, super simple. Nowhere near as complex as what Townstar is. We did that in 6 weeks, and then every day after that, we developed new features and released them. So in that way, it's very much like Townstar, where we built it in public, literally, right? Now, Farmville also had this weird phenomenon where we launched it. We all remember it on June 19th, 2009. We launched the game Friday night. We didn't expect anything. 4 days later, 1 million people were playing the game. Right, so that brought its own set of problems and issues. I'd love that if that happened with Townstar, but I think more realistically is as we build this game in public, we want to get it right, and then we'll expand it as time goes on. So it was very, very simple. And by the way, in Farmville, there was no monetization process in the game at all. So literally released a game where nobody could pay us. So, but that's the answer to that.
I'm gonna jump in.
I see a note there.
Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm gonna jump in and answer this question from Sand King about the weekly competition. I feel like I've answered this. I don't even know how many times in the last couple of months. We're doing bi-weekly competitions. We need that extra space between competitions in order to release new updates. We need that time available to update the game, to upgrade the server. Work has to go in. If we have a competition every single week nonstop, we can't upgrade the game. And things need to happen in the game. We also need the time between them to get rewards sent out properly and looked at. Otherwise, things will just get backed up, and nobody wants that. So we're just going to continue on in a bi-weekly cadence.
Maybe you need to just get a little recording, and just when somebody asks that question, just push the button, save some time there. Or maybe people in the community can help share that out as well. Yes, and you're 100% right. We want to do the right thing for players.
All right, so let's move on to the next question then. We got when Townstar Light Paper and Roadmap, and what significant change will we see next?
Yeah, that's... oh, wait, Murdoch, just get rid of Vox earnings and do the weekly comp. It's not that complicated. Thanks for the outside opinion there. We're gonna just plot our own course there. Vox earning over 1 million problem. There's some issues there, but let's get to that question that you asked. So when Townstar Light Paper, we'll share the paper when we got the new economy figured out. And you're like, well, when are you going to figure out the new economy? It's a constant thing. The lead PM and I just met yesterday and going over yet another revision. And, we're just going to keep working on it and hammering on it until we get it right. We know that once we get it right, we can configure the code pretty quickly. But there's a lot of things to take into account. We've seen what happened with, explosive inflation. You mentioned some people are concerned about the Vox earning. Some people are concerned about, people having too many NFTs, all those kind of things. We're working at solving those. So pretty much every single day, we at least think about it or mention it, or there's another part of Gala that's working on it. We have some internal economists. We're going to do that. I'm not sure now on the roadmap. I'm not sure we're ever going to post a roadmap. And at least one that people are specific enough to where you can come and, set your watch by it. And part of that is we're still figuring out what the new game's going to be. We're still doing a lot of work and, still starting on a new engine. But you can rest assured that when we have stuff and it's ready, we'll show you. And so you're never going to wonder what the state of the game is because you'll be able to see it. Okay. Anything else on that one? What significant change will we see next? Is this, I don't know if that's talking about Townstar Live or, Townstar Godot / Townstar Good Forever. But, I think we'll say what changes we're going to see from Mal as he gets up to this point, talk about what's coming next.
Is that me? Is this the time?
I don't know. Is there more questions, Michelle, there?
There's only one more question. It's when are we going to start seeing burning for town coin activities?
Right. Well, we actually, when you say burning, I think there's a question. Are you talking burning or sinking, right? The way I look at it is we're looking at sinks. And part of the community, I think, voted last week is let's do the flower station with town coin. We're still constantly looking at that every single day. Part of it is figuring out, Town Star Forever economy. And then part of it is looking at, what do we still have sort of in the hopper that we're planning to do for Town Star Live. And those things, we'll talk more about those soon. I know people hate the word soon, but that's, you can count on us when we say soon, we actually mean soon. So that's all for that question. Are there any more questions, Michelle, or we're kind of moving on to something else?
Nope, that's it. Let's move on to future plans for next week and beyond.
Okay. Let's go ahead. Mal, you want to take this? Yeah.
Yeah. So, the meta. Everyone's been asking about the meta, so we all know it's why.
Wait, meta? Who's asking for meta? Was somebody asking for meta, Mel?
Only like one person. Yeah, it's just like one person a couple of weeks ago mentioned it, so I thought I'd bring it up now, just to cover it. But the long-awaited meta for this wine will be a sangria, so congratulations to everyone who got that. I've seen a few people guessing that one. As you notice, I would have just been slyly leaving Discord, which is always fun because Michelle sent me a message to let me know that everyone had sussed me out around the strawberries. It'll be the Cabernet wine, if I've said that right. I always say the wine names very, very wrong, but it's the Cabernet, if that's correct pronunciation. And that's what you'll need a bottle of that, you'll need some strawberries, and you'll need sugar. So, let's read these comments.
I'm watching the spellings pop up there. Cabernet.
Cabernet.
Cabernet?
It's Cabernet.
Cabernet, okay.
Cabernet Sauvignon.
There we go. There we
nice,
go.
Nice.
Michelle there with the big word saving us. So what's the rewards going to be? Well, I'm sure Todd might be around to drop a nice leak for us. If everyone pays attention to the chat, they might just happen to see what the reward's going to be. I mentioned it involves growing, but we never mentioned what. So if Todd wants to just sort the chat out, we can see what that is.
I'm waiting to see what pops. I see some leaks. I see a lot of leaks popping. Is that the reward, leaks?
Oh, there we go.
Oh.
Ancient Grand Oaks. So I'll let that ghost card image speak for itself. We can all look forward to that one. Very, very useful for any future wine builds.
That's cool.
Yeah,
really like
cool whip. Yeah, the oak trees take about 2 minutes, so this is nice to shave a nice chunk off those and save some spaces. The witch asks, what's the meta? It's sangria. So you'll be making a new wine. From Cabernet.
I think you... Mel, I think you also need that button when somebody says, what's the meta? You just hit the macro key and just types out sangria.
That's it. I'll have Michelle prepare all of these because she's going to need to make a few for herself, it seems. A bi-weekly one and a sangria one.
I've got most of the stuff saved in my clipboard. It's easy enough to just paste quick.
It's cool.
So people are unhappy about the sugar. I understand we don't like sugar. It's in a lot of ingredients. It'd be the wine smoogie. So the bottled, I'm not even going to say it again and butcher it, but the bottled version with sugar and strawberries. but the meta's coming after the uniform one. There is no sugar, but there will be wax. So a future hint there, uniforms and wax. I wonder how that's going to look, eh? But yes, I understand about the sugar, but this is just part of the sangria one. It's only 2 sugar, just if I didn't mention that. 2 sugar, 2 strawberries, 1 bottle of the wine. So it's not a lot of sugar. No, not candles.
Cool testing for candles. Whoa.
Yeah, everyone knows I want the scented candles, but we've got plenty of uses for wax. So one day.
I'll get a full announcement out later with all the details about the sangria for everybody.
Any other plans and stuff to talk about now?
Well, I was just focused on the chat. I know people are told sugar in any meta, it's in a lot of ingredients. But so I've been looking at tier 7s and tier 8s. I mentioned last time tier 7s, but I never mentioned the tier 8s. The idea is that as we move forward, we start looking at different types of metas. We've got the usual, just a meta that runs. Then we've got a meta that has a cash and point balance. But then I also want to try and find those metas that aren't really about cash. And the challenge comes from an extreme layout, in a sense of you might have to have something removed to build something else. So once you've got that ingredient to try and shift around. I want to see how creative and fun we can make a meta, but challenge all the different aspects that make Townstar fun. So look, I'm really excited for those sort of more complicated chains. People often ask for that longer chain of craft, see how far we can go. So really looking forward to that. Might even start dropping some leaks on that once we've got past the uniform meta.
And we got any updates on the Greasy Wheels NFT?
Oh yes, the Greasy Wheels. So that should be getting sent out, if not today, I would like to think Monday. It should be minted. Was it minted? I've seen some things got minted, so I'm hoping that that's been minted now, which means it's very close to being sent out. So I would expect to see the Greasy Wheels soon, which will definitely help with your sangria build with the mines. And just to point out, the Gusty Wins also will be useful for this meta. So anyone who'd earned a Gusty Wins in the first competition, the first NFT competition, can now take advantage of having a Gusty Wins NFT as well.
You know, I know a lot of people were asking about rivers. I remember and the dev team was talking about it. Do you guys know the update on that, the latest?
Last I heard, we were going to try to have them in by mid-August. It definitely didn't make code freeze for the update that's going in on Monday, but I think potentially the Monday after that, it might be in if we can get all of the work done ahead of time and get it figured out.
That's cool. And just, that raises a good note. So we say, we're working on rivers, and everybody's like, when rivers? We want more rivers. And then we say something like, we think mid-August. And that's a really direct, honest answer, because that's when we see it. There's a set of work that has to be done, but sometimes other things come up that get in the way, and so it shifts that, other priorities, bugs, or whatnot. So I just want to encourage people to know that when we say stuff like that, Michelle or Mal or I say something, it is actually what we know, and we're kind of giving you some deep insight into what's actually happening on the game team. So hopefully you kind of take that at face value and know that everybody's working hard on the team to try to help deliver the features that everybody wants. We got more to share, or is it?
That's all I've got.
Cloud Kicker asks, how do we get the card you posted? So if you're looking at the Grand Oaks, that'll be in the competition coming up on Tuesday. So if you play in a competition and rank top in the rewards, the various rankings, Michelle will post those, the different rankings for the different rarities. So if you have a look at that in the announcements later on, you'll see.
Cool. So are we wrapping? Is this it? Do we get to the end of our agenda? Maybe we can look at a couple of questions in the community real quick in the next few minutes.
Let's do it.
Europe has lots of rivers, but not on Town Star. Okay. Good feedback. Dear God, adding cured wine to build is okay. Nice. Anybody got some quick questions to pop up on there that we can try to answer? A lot of notes about sugar. Weed asked, did we already release the reward for the last NFT competition?
No, we're still working on the one from earlier in the month, well, from last month, the Greasy Wheels. And as soon as we get the Greasy Wheels sent out, which should be sometime today, we can start moving on to the next competition for the Gala rewards, and then we'll get those sent out. I would think a few weeks probably is a good estimate.
Okay. Let's see. I'm not seeing. Well, there are two large quantity land trading vehicles. Will they be in the game when we move to Godot? We'll figure that out. You know, the general goal, I don't want to say general goal. The way I'm thinking about it is we bring over as much as we can directly into the Godot version, and some things we may have to modify as we change the gameplay up. So, you know, everything, I've got the whole giant list of NFTs, looking over them. You know, I don't see a problem with a lot of them. To change some parameters on them, but yeah, keep them intact. Let's see. Just got home. Yeah, sorry, Rob. AMA is almost over, but we do have a recording for it that will be posted as soon as we can. Here's a question, Michelle. When will Sangria stuff be live to test before the competition?
It should be sometime on Monday, probably less than 24 hours before the competition starts, but more than 12 hours before the competition starts. Our updates always go in Monday, usually afternoon Pacific Standard Time.
Dark Magician, what do we envision competitions look like in the future? That's a great question because it always comes up. Everybody, you know, right now, Townstar is really super strong competition-driven game, and I think it has to be in the future. I think in addition to just competitions, though, we can get into that idea of a persistent town. What would that look like, and how fun would that be to play? That doesn't mean it's only going to be persistent world and no competitions, because that wouldn't be true to the product. So yes, some competitions, and I know Mal has a bunch of ideas for new types of competitions.
Yeah, we're looking at the competitions a lot, trying to, because I like all the different styles of how we can compete, and I know there's a lot of people who play the game who do want to try different variations of the competition, and I think that's fun. So trying to find those that work for Townstar is something we definitely want to do.
Yeah. And I also know, because this question will always come up, do I need to keep in the Godot version? Will I need to keep my game open for it to run? I just got some feedback from someone who was playing in Mayhem, and, you know, actually it was their brother that was playing, and they said the person was complaining because they were playing from Turkey and they had to keep their game up the whole time, and power wasn't as stable as they wanted it to be, so they had to keep restarting their computer to, you know, keep the game running. So yes, the answer to that question is definitively yes. You will not have to have your game open for your simulation to keep running. Now, that being said, there's going to be incentive for you to have your game open. Mal's come up with some really awesome ideas, Michelle as well, on those things. So yeah, but you won't have to do that. And I know people keep asking that. Let's see. Dash, Riprock, same people always win. Top 100 to 200. Now, Michelle, what do you think about that?
I wouldn't say it's as strong as that. The meta mixes it up. What I would say is there's definitely the same people who win the very, very high ends, but with NFTs and skill in the game, it's, you know, it's hard for, if someone's really good at the game and has NFTs, then, you know, it's a combination to win, and that's kind of the point of practicing and why people really put so much effort into the builds. So I understand that there's that going on in the sort of the top end, but it's trying to find a way where it doesn't just punish everybody, you know, but it kind of keeps it fun and fresh. So we're definitely aware of these type of things.
Yeah, Dash, I didn't see that as a complaint there. I'm just saying, because it's one of those things that's always on our minds, and especially on my mind, having run games before with leaderboards, sometimes, or even like if you look at the mobile game industry, the top 5, 10 games hardly ever changes, right? The leaders always stay up there. When you become a leader, sometimes it's easier just to stay a leader than it is to get to become a leader. But I like the idea of different types of competitions, different type of leaderboards that gives everybody a chance to kind of win in their own special skill area. Sometimes people are really good at long competitions. Other times people just can jump in there and snipe out a win on day-to-day competitions. You guys ever played arcade games or remember the old arcade games? You'd have the top score list, the forever top score list, and then you'd have the daily top score list, right? So I like to mix stuff up in competitions that way. And then there's other types of competitions, just besides who gets the most points. And Mal has been really an idea machine about those kind of competitions. So I'm pretty sure we're going to have competitions well covered, and we'll try to make it fun and fair for everybody. I think we're about at time, Michelle. Is it time to say goodbye? Feels like we should have some ending music or something.
We'll look into that one for next week then.
Okay. It's like, I don't know, something like so long, see ya, it's great. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Oh, yeah, there you go. AAA was always the top scorer. Hated the guy, too. Hated that guy, too. My arcade tag was YZZ because it was the simplest to enter on a pad, and it was not AAA. So, Mal, you got any last-minute tidbits? Michelle, any last minutes?
Nothing from me.
Yeah, I'll just say with the sugar, I'd said in the chat maybe last week at some point that I will be looking at sugar with it being such a wide ingredient and how it's set up at the moment, pretty harsh for that. So I will be looking at that for those people who are asking around that. I'm not going to go crazy with it before anyone thinks, but just making it less like it is, I think, is pretty fair.
Oh, wait. Willem Martin, here's a note, Mal. This meta is legit insane. Like, it's insane. Is that good, Willem Martin? Or is it like crazy?
Sure. Yeah, I've got a feeling he typed that, bashing them keys.
It's going to be incredibly difficult. Mal is tricky. Mal is tricky. I love the work that he does there, and I love the metas that he generates. Because it is a skill. Need any Band-Aids for your fingers? Nice. Okay, well, I think that's it, guys. Michelle, why don't you take us out?
Yeah, sure. It's been awesome chatting with everybody. I guess I'll put up another survey for more questions. Keep throwing them at us, and we'll keep answering them weekly as we come through. So that's really all I got. Everybody have a good weekend.
Thanks, everybody. See you online next time.
Thanks, everyone.
I'm going to watch you all leave. One at a time.
Everyone as they leave.
Looking at everybody's pictures and names. Spicy cabbage, interesting.